You're watching News at Prime. Let's bring you this conversation now. The Banyamulenge community in the Democratic Republic of Congo says it is deeply concerned by the recent coverage of former Rwandan Army Chief of Staff Kayumba Nyamwasa, who is in South Africa. In an interview with Newzroom Afrika last week, Kayumba claimed that the genocide committed against the Banyamulenge ended back in 1998, something the group strongly denies. A member of the Global Banyamulenge Coordination Committee, Adele Kibasumba, is joining us now for a response to the general, and she joins us this evening from New York. Adele, good evening to you. Our time, it's good to have you with us. Let's start first with the discomfort you had with that interview that Newzroom Afrika conducted with the former general Kayumba Nyamwasa.
Good evening, Tony. Again, thank you so much for having me here. When we followed the interview of the former General Kayumba Nyamwasa on your channel, we were very appalled to hear someone who once fought the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda to now deny that Banyamulenge, who are Congolese Tutsi, are not facing the genocide that they've been facing since 1960s, before he even started fighting himself in Rwanda against the genocide of Tutsi. We thought that he lied and he was misleading and misinforming the Southern African population, especially the decision makers in South Africa, who in previous conflicts in DRC, who have played a very positive role in ending the conflict in DRC.
Yeah. So in the main, your discomfort has to do with his statement that the genocide had ended back in 1998. Why should people not believe him when he says the genocide ended? Yeah.
So in 1998, that's when the first Congo and second Congo Wars, started, and which was ended in the Sun City in South Africa by the South African government brokering a peace agreement between the party in conflict and the DRC government. And after that, the Congolese government walked away from the peace that was brokered by South Africa at that time. And the Banyamulenge have never ceased to experience stigmatization, discrimination, atrocity of genocidal killings. I myself, I was born in 1990s, and I face stigmatization. I'm a survivor of the Gatumba massacre of mainly Banyamulenge who have been massacred. I'm a refugee. I'm in the US as a refugee who fled in 2004. So for him to say that genocide against the Banyamulenge and the Congolese Tutsi in general has ended in 1996 is a lie, and he's actually trying to silence the voice of the victims instead of siding with the truth.
Yeah. Rwanda, its role, some are criticizing it, saying that that country is using Congolese Tutsi communities, which you are a part of, to legitimize its security concerns. How do you respond to that criticism? Do you believe that indeed Rwanda could be playing a negative role here?
So what I can say is that the DRC government has lacked leadership to bring all the communities in the DRC together, and instead have used the differences, our physical differences as Congolese, as a tool, as a political tool to gain power. Congo has nine countries that are neighbors that have communities across borders. But in the Eastern DRC, you happen to have Congolese Tutsis like us who look like the Rwandese Tutsis, who speak and have similar cultures, but who have been in DRC before even the colonizers were there. Even after they left, they left us there. But Congo has failed to unify all the Congolese. Instead, they called us that we are Rwandese and we need to go back where we come from. So this becomes an issue. And then you have after the Rwandan genocide against the Tutsi, when the genocidaire came in the area where the Congolese Tutsi were living, they started spewing hate and spreading hate against the Congolese Tutsi. They killed them. They kind of embedded themselves with the Congolese government, and now they kind of add the fuel to the fire of what was already there, the stigmatization against the Congolese Tutsi. So you find that there's a problem of the leadership of Congo that has failed really to unify the country, and so now you have people, all the communities are to themselves. So for me, I come from the South Kivu, and when you talk about the Rwanda being part of this issue in North Kivu, I'm from South Kivu. We've been in the conflict since in 2017.
Yeah.
And we have a Twigwaneho now, which is many Banyamulenge self-defense group that defend the Banyamulenge population that are living in South Kivu. That's like 500 miles away from Rwandan border. We're not even close. So why would the Banyamulenge in South Kivu 500 miles be fighting against all the militias against them that are supported by the government of Congo to kill Banyamulenge? Why are we not talking about that? Why are we so focused on the M23 in North Kivu just because they're so close to Rwanda? And now Rwanda has a part. We are saying that Rwanda has a part in this. I'm not the Rwandese government spokesperson. I can only speak to the Banyamulenge's plot and also the Congolese plot, especially the Tutsi and the Bahema as well in Ituri, who have been also massacred. So I really can't speak on whether there are other countries who are, basically fueling to this. Yeah. But all I can say is this has been going on for a long time, and we need to find a solution, and we need to stop the blame. We are Congolese. We first look for solution in Congo, and Congo has to help us stop the killing, stop the massacre against its own people.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about finding a solution in a moment, but very quickly, you have said that this war has gone on for a very long time. As the community of the Banyamulenge, what has sustained this war for such a long period? What is at the center of it?
So what I can say, since 2017, all the armed groups, 200 and plus in the Eastern DRC, all came against Banyamulenge, supported by foreign groups like the FDLR, like the Red Tabara from Burundi, and the Congolese army as well. Banyamulenge had no help from anybody, not Rwanda, not the international community. They were all to themselves. They were living in a landlocked place where they cannot even walk 2 kilometers without being killed. They're cattle holders. They're not sitting on they're sitting on they don't have, they don't mine, okay? They're cattle holders. So you find them basically fighting to survive. Yeah. They're fighting for survivals. And you had MONUSCO there at the base. And MONUSCO didn't do anything to stop the killing against Banyamulenge. 85% of Banyamulenge now are in exile in neighboring countries. Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, even now in South Africa, you have Banyamulenge who have fled.
Yeah.
So what has sustained? It's just resistance. They use what they can. They use their own cattle. No external influence that has come to aid Banyamulenge.
Okay.
The diaspora community has come together to aid on a humanitarian grounds, but Congolese government has abandoned completely Banyamulenge to themselves. So, before we talk about the outside influence, we need to also hold our own government accountable to what they're doing or what they're not doing.
Okay.
They're aiding all the militia against one community. And you found that, okay? And South Africa came to intervene in North Kivu and left Banyamulenge suffering since 2017. Where was South Africa in South Kivu to stop those atrocities?
So if Banyamulenge are mainly a cattle farming community, the minerals that are found in South Kivu, the coltan minerals, is that not part of the source of conflict?
Tony, all I can tell you, I was born and raised in South Kivu. I left when I was a teenager. I've never seen any Munyamulenge going to mine anything. I heard about that narrative when I moved to the US as a refugee, after I left the refugee camp, that the war that's being raged in Congo was about the mineral. But I know no Munyamulenge is a miner. None. Not even businesses. So most of them die fighting for their cattle. I can tell you, because my family, all Banyamulenges are cattle holders. And now, over 500,000 of their cattle have been looted, stolen, and sold on a public market, government market, where the military is there, the police is there, the MONUSCO is there. No one stops. So when you ask me about the minerals, I only want to live, and I don't. We're not in mining business. We just need to live, and I'm sure there's a better way to obtain mines while leaving the population in peace.
If the Banyamulenge is not getting any support from the Congolese government, who is your main source of strength as a community in the DRC?
Ourselves, the global community of Banyamulenge.
And then this past weekend, the SADC leaders met with their East African counterparts. It was the two regional blocs having a summit on the very conflict in Eastern DRC. And out of that meeting came a resounding statement for a ceasefire. For you as the community that is at the center of this, what is the solution here? How can we find lasting peace?
This conflict has been going on as long as I lived. Even my parents would tell me that this conflict was there, the stigmatization was there when they were kids. Even their grandparents, they fought this war just to survive in this country. So this conflict is very complex. Many agreements have been signed before. Nothing came out of it. I'm very pessimistic. Those are just statements from world leaders who don't get to experience what stigmatization is like. So I'm very pessimistic, but I think the conflict really lies in a dialogue and also national cohesion. If we cannot prioritize national unity to include everyone, I don't see how this conflict is going to end. Lastly, I do want to add that in one of the statements the former General Kayumba Nyamwasa made was that Banyamulenge are okay because we have some individuals in Congolese government, and he cites some names. I want to remind him that when the Rwandan genocide was taking place, there were Tutsi people in the then government. There were Tutsi in the government. Did that stop them from going to stop the genocide? Did that stop from almost 1 million of Tutsi being killed and massacred in 100 days? yes, we do have those people, but still, all those generals that he was naming, now none of them have any home. They can't even pinpoint you. This is where we come from. This is my house. All their houses have been burned. Their parents, all of them are in a refugee camp or in exile in neighboring countries. So what is their use? Being in the government, while their own people, they can't even find their home village. Right. So I just want to let you know that just because you have a representation in the government, it doesn't mean you can use that to still kill their own family. Lastly, I don't think that the conflict is going to end if the government of Congo is not talking to the warring parties, which is the M23 and all the non-political, the non-military faction that are on the loggerheads with the government.
Adele Kibasumba, thank you very much for your time. She is a member of the Global Banyamulenge Coordinating Committee.
Thank you so much, Tony, for your time.
Thank you indeed.